The reason I'm standing on this podium is because yesterday I was in Mozambique, and Mozambique has President Daniel Chapo as their president. He's very tall. I mean, next to him, I looked like a midget. So I then spoke about the inequality that I was experiencing, that he was tall and I was short. And when they arranged the speaking opportunity, I said, oh, I need a taller podium so that I could appear like President Chapo. Thank you very much for this celebration, Colin and Ravi, and all of the people in YES, the board members. It's a great moment for celebration. When in 2016, I was deputy president then, I had occasion to talk to Stephen Kosef and Colin Coleman and raised the idea with them and said, we would like the private sector to bring in young people into their companies so that young people can gain work experience. I had by then already been exposed to what Harambee has been doing over many years with great success, and I visited Harambee offices and I saw what they did and are doing. But when I spoke to Stephen and Colin, I said, we need South African companies to give young people the work experience they need, because quite often they qualify or finish their matric and find that they have no work. Some of them get degrees, diplomas, and what have you. And I'm very glad that they took the idea quite seriously, because I threw a challenge at them, and they accepted it as two great South Africans who really truly love their country. And it was also during COVID that I sat down with them and threw another challenge at them. We were going through COVID, and I said, we need companies, we need a financial system in our country to assist companies that were facing great difficulties. That's when we then came up with the 200 billion rand package to assist companies. But that never really got taken up much. Only 20 billion of that was taken up, and I still have a big grudge with the companies, with the financial companies for doing that. But coming back to YES, what they then said as we were in conversation, Stephen and Colin, was the private sector needs to be incentivized to do this. And I then asked what type of incentive would they need, and they said one of the things is to give them BE points. And we then proceeded to get DTI at the time to work on a package. And a package of incentives was worked on. And even then, I thought it was a bit lightweight. But I'm rather glad that today we're celebrating more than 200,000 young people who've been brought in by the 1,900 companies. And this is a phenomenal success. However, when it started, when the idea was mooted, I thought that it would create 1 million opportunities. And where did I get the 1 million? I asked one of my assistants to try and do a tally of the companies that are registered in the country. 2016, they were about 1.4, 1.5 million maybe. And in 2023, we're recording 2.1 million companies. And in my own head, I thought, if we could get each of the companies, the 1.5 million or so, just to take on one young people, we would easily get 1 million. And those that needed the B incentive, we would give them that incentive. I'm really pleased today that much as we didn't reach the 1 million target, we have companies that have really outperformed even what I thought they would perform. Nedbank and all the other companies that have been mentioned here, and VW and many others. This, for me, is quite impressive. So impressive that I do think it is possible to do much more than what we have done. And if it requires some more incentives, we would be prepared to look at the type of incentives we could have so that we could get more companies to participate. Recently, I went to Switzerland. Angela Merkel, the former Chancellor of Germany, and I had formed a very good friendship, and she had told me about the dual system that my sister, who is aspiring to be a young person, Nokubela, was talking about. The dual system, which has worked extremely well in Germany, in Switzerland, and Austria, or a few other countries, where companies on a voluntary basis, and this has evolved over many years, on a voluntary basis bring in young people, and they have the dual system. They do their own the learning at a tertiary or whatever institution, and they come and work in the company for a certain period. And Nokubela, I've learned that experience in the company does extend beyond 2 years, up to 3 years. And when I ask the companies, why don't you seek incentives? They say, no, we don't work on an incentive basis. Because what we are really doing is we're investing in the future. Those young people that we bring in may not be very productive in the first year working for us, but in the second year and third year, they become productive. So we are investing in them to make them more productive, and they are our future employees. Now, that planted an idea in me that why don't we have a dual system in South Africa? If we had a dual type of system where young people could learn and at the same time be brought into companies, and wherever the companies are, and work for a while. It's either they learn for 6 months or whatever, or we do what YES does now. And Nkubela, that could also be the YES program, where they are brought in slightly larger numbers, and they work for 2 years or more. Now, since South African companies have become accustomed to incentives, and we do have, yes, I do realize that we may not be able to get them, to wean them off from the incentives, like you wean a baby off a mother's breast. And since we're not able to do so, is there another way of increasing the number of participants in the YES type of program? But then again, I've been giving quite a lot of thought on what do we do with generating a real skills revolution in our country. In 1994, the new government said we want to have a skills revolution, and we're going to get companies to pay a skills development levy. That skills development levy, almost on an annual basis, yields about 40 billion or so. I may be wrong with the actual figure, but the University of Stellenbosch has done a study. It yields something like 40 billion or so, and it is used through our CETA system. I've said to my Minister of Higher Education and Training, let us look at how we transform that whole CETA system. and bring in more young people into real training and see the extent to which we can combine what YES does, what Harambee does, and what our CETAs do. And that could then give us a real skills revolution, because that is the way to go. Now, the incentive could well be, how do you use the tax incentive scheme, which is there. Not many companies participate in it. I forget the actual figure that SARS actually gives rebates for companies. And we have the skills development levy. And we have the voluntary system, which is backed up by the BE incentives. And a combination of all that, I do believe, could create a powerful skills revolution in our country. I've challenged my advisors to come up with ideas. Now, when I raised the issue to come up with ideas, when I raised the issue with Colin and Stephen, they immediately came up with answers. And I'm throwing it out to everyone here and said, this is, tonight I see this as an ideas hub or an ideas moment. That could we come up with ideas of how we've got 12 million people unemployed in our country, 60-something% of them, 65% of them are young people. We've got 5 million young people registered on the MOBI website, which government runs, and a number of them get jobs because employers are encouraged to find potential employees on it. So you've got a reservoir of young people who are almost ready to get into learnerships, job situations, and training. And with that, we would be able to create quite a number of opportunities, utilizing the various incentives that can be used. When Tito, may his soul rest in peace, would come to me quite often, I would say, Tito, I need 100 billion rand. Find me 100 billion rand so that we can employ up to, say, 2 million young people. And I've said the same thing to Enoch, that if there is a pot of money we can find without breaking the budget, but bring in young people and have a real skills revolution in South Africa and bring in a lot of young people. And my estimate is, if we could say bring in 1.5 million young people, 2 million young people, and spread them through various companies and use the dual system, use the YES type of system, and a variety of other systems that have worked. Because we do have systems or programs, better still, that have really shown that they can work. Now, I'm throwing this out there because next year, when I open Parliament, I want to be able to announce what we are going to do for young people. And I want all of you to be part of that announcement. Yes, Colin said this is a time bomb, and indeed it is. For a country to have such a number of young people unemployed, 300,000 or so of them coming into the employment-seeking cohort is quite a huge challenge. And we therefore need to enhance this partnership. One of the great things that we have in our country is the partnership that we have engendered between the public sector and the private sector, as well as labor and communities that have bought in. And NEDLAC is the institutional framework that we have to enhance cooperation amongst all these partners. But between government and business, we've taken cooperation to another level. And we have found ways of resolving many problems. Some of the things that Colin was referring to, the green shoots that we are now beginning to see, is as a result of really good cooperation between government and the private sector. Cooperation that is really yielding results. And I've often said in our joint meetings that I want us to focus on job creation. A number of ideas have come through. They need to be implemented. But I do believe that the real cooperation that will show great success will be in bringing young people into employment. Now, the YES program, which Ravi says will keep on growing, is showing great efficacy. And Colin, I do not wish the YES type of program to die. I want it forever, because our corporates are clearly showing that they are utilizing it to good effect. And for transformation, transformation should never be a process that stops at one stage. We should continue to transform, because through transformation we are then able to address the challenges that will keep coming up. So I see either a reformed YES program, a reformed CETA process, and many others that are combined, where we have a thoroughgoing skills revolution with either a dual system, learning and working, and bringing in more young people into the world of employment is going to be the answer. But today is a day for celebration. And I celebrate the companies that are participating in the work that has been done. It's phenomenal work that has been done. And there are quite a number of companies that have gone way beyond, I would say, the call of duty. And I applaud them for what they have done. Because the 200,000 or so young people who've been brought in, it's just not people, it's futures. Their lives have been transformed. What we have done, we've unlocked their capability as young people. And the one thing that we need to recognize is that our young people are capable. I mean, just like Tusile here, she knew nothing about a drone. And today she's helping to arrest people who are stealing cables. And that shows great capability. And what I admire with Tusile, which I will tell young people to do all the time, never take no for an answer. Because she was not on the list of those to be interviewed. And she just went and said, I am here now. What are you going to do about me? And she got a job. And that is a very good spirit of, courage, of enthusiasm. And in our case, when business and government come together to work together in the YES program, it is really consolidating our shared vision, the shared vision that we have had of sustainable and long-term impact. And it is long-term impact that has a great impact on the economy of our country. The economy that Colin spoke about. What do we want? Do we want to see our growth being limited to 3%? No. We want to see our growth going beyond the 3% to 5% and more. One time when I spoke about 3%, as people often say, they said, oh, yeah, he goes again. He's a dreamer. Yes, I am a dreamer. I am dreaming big for the young people of South Africa. That's what I am doing. Now, from the onset with this program, as we started it, we saw it as an integral part of our national economic growth strategy, as opposed just to a social add-on. And let me say that I'm rather glad that the many companies that have participated have not seen it as an act of charity and have not seen it as a social grant. They have actually seen it as an economic imperative. And at that time, government undertook, yes, to support this effort through providing yes with a package of incentives. And I'm already saying, I do believe that those incentives were a bit too light. We were focusing more on BEE, but the real focus should be on getting young people to get jobs. That should be the real focus. And so therefore, we should have been focusing on how, yes, we assist companies and support them to assist us in job creation. And this is where the real partnership between government and business has proven to bear really good fruit. And at that time, the principal instrument, having BEE, I do believe that we can go beyond that. And with this year's program having grown to the level that it has, it is a real testament of how there is value in public and private partnerships. And the milestone that we are celebrating today has been made possible through all of you who are represented here, the 1,900 companies. Now, they are not the 2.1 million companies that are represented, so there is a huge scope for us to go and reach the many more companies. And we've got BEE points in galore. We can give them out as quickly as possible. But yes, there is scope to give much more than that. And I do want us to support the private sector. And if we work together, then we can find a way of coming up with real good packages, of utilizing the resource that we have, utilizing the system that has grown, because I'm told that the YES system that we have here is probably, it is one of the biggest and the largest corporate-funded youth jobs programs in the world. And that you should applaud yourself for, because you're doing something that's very big. And the impressive institutional capacity that has been built through the years of hard work is now a strategic asset. What Ravi was saying about how they've been able to phone 40,000 young people. And even as they started with it and demonstrated it to me, I thought it was quite phenomenal. To be able to keep in touch with the participants in the way that the YES program has is quite something to be proud of. And many of the participating companies being here with us is also a great, great thing that makes us happy. And we are equally encouraged by the new forms of partnerships that companies are forming in support of YES. I'm told that there are quite a number of other levels of partnerships. For instance, Microsoft, 5.4 billion data center investment, alongside which it created the AI Skills Hub, which I think Sohail was talking about, and where they will be able to certify 50,000 young people per year in high-demand digital skills. And even when we went to launch this with Microsoft, it seemed like a dream, but it was an initiative that they were putting at our disposal as a country. And now incorporating it as part of the YES program is quite phenomenal. And I do believe that a number of other South African companies can also come up with their own ideas of how we can give assistance or support to young people. Now, these are precisely the skills that will define economic competitiveness in decades ahead. And as I said, and I think as government, we've always been a bit slow to take up digital skills or to see our people as being digitally literate. We've been slow, and I've often said that to my colleagues, because I found that ordinary people in our country are so literate when it comes to taking up digital or technology. And I saw it when we started distributing the social distress grant the SRD, the 350 grant. We did not do it through giving people cash. We did it digitally. And initially it was 11 million people, came down to 9 million people. I think it's around 6 million people. And every month those people get their money. And they use digital frameworks or digital pathways to get their money. So our people are digitally literate, and we just need to unlock the power that resides in our people. And this, for me, what Microsoft have done is a powerful example of how investment, skills development, and youth employment can be integrated into a single national project. And we are living through a period of profound digital changes or technological changes. And with artificial intelligence and robotics, what many of your companies do can enhance the digital capability of our country. And if our country is to make headway towards economic inclusion, we must prepare our young people for this future. We must invest in skills and work experience and also exposure to real production environments. You will find that many of our young people who even graduate from universities are not so well versed in the world of work, and therefore they need that experience. And the YES program, or what we may even transform our other programs as, will be a great benefit to young people. Now, through these placements in various sectors of our economy, in finance, in manufacturing, in tourism, in logistics, and you name them, that is where young people want to be. And we already have that reservoir of young people in the Modi youth website, about 5 million of them, I'm told. Rudy always tells me that more and more of these young people are coming onto that website. It shows that they are hungry for work experience, they are hungry to get employed. And we just need to make the opportunities available to them. And in July this year, yes, I saw the impact of how this can work when we went to the BMW Roslyn plant in Tshwane at the launch of their new X3 plug-in hybrid. As you may know, South Africa is the exclusive global producer for this model. I was encouraged to learn that over 3,500 YES youth have been supported by BMW, and the figures have already been given. But I saw it in real life for myself as I met those young people on the factory floor in Roslyn at the BMW plant. Now, this is precisely what our transition to giving young people great opportunities should be. And we must, the joy that I've also enjoyed about what YES is doing is just going beyond giving people job opportunities, but creating entrepreneurs. And to have as many entrepreneurs that have been given an opportunity to be business people, like today we have Sohail, is phenomenal. This guy is making 100,000 rand a month. I mean, at 24, what was I doing at 24? I was doing my articles. And you won't believe I was earning 600 rand. So now you are 24, you are earning 100,000 rand. And this is the power of what we are doing today. And we must stick to it. I think today gathered here are people who are really who can power South Africa to move forward in a much bolder way. And it is equally significant that 58% of the YES alumni are women, reflecting the powerful contribution that YES is making. And I'd like you to applaud to that, the women of our country. Now, as we say, you empower a woman, you are really empowering a nation. And to have 58% of the participants being women is something that we must be proud of. It is a source of pride to us, and we were able to showcase, I believe, the YES program as a case study at the recent B20 summit in Johannesburg under South Africa's G20 presidency. And I just wish that those who stayed away from the G20 should have heard the story. Now that they say terrible things are happening in South Africa, wonderful things are happening here, and we're beginning to demonstrate. And for me, this was a great moment, and I'm rather glad that there are the business leaders here from BUSA and BLSA who took it up on themselves when the business people of the world were here to showcase what we are doing for young people. And I'm told, other people told me that many people were blown when they heard about the YES program. And this is real accolades to all of you who participate in this program. It is unique. It is a truly South African-made program, and to have showcased it at the G20 is really something that makes me happy. Now, even as we celebrate the creation of nearly 200,000 jobs, I do believe that we can do more. We can do much more, as I said right at the beginning. Now, I want, as I conclude, to see a real skills revolution. And as companies, we can participate with government in that. Now, government is willing, and there are quite a number of areas of incentives that we can look at. Now, I'd like to invite you, particularly BUSA, yes, as well as PLSA, also to work with my office in the presidency, to work with the ministries, to see what we can do to really turbocharge the skills revolution that we envisaged in 1994. And if we have the will, and if we have the big, audacious dreams of doing so, we can bring in many of the young people into employment. And my target could easily be 1 million, and it could be 2 million, and we can even go beyond that. And as I said, if we can get many companies to participate, we can easily exceed that target. And that is what I believe we could be capable of doing. But then again, this is a day for celebration. This is a day of looking back at what we started in 2016, and to say thank you to Colin Coleman, to Stephen Kosev, and say thank you very much for having taken up the challenge that I threw at you, and you've done it with great aplomb. And also thank you to the board of YES, Donay Nicol, who is now my full-time boss, keeps me briefed about the progress that is being made. And I think we can go to higher levels with the YES program. So thank you to you all the companies that are participating. I really think we are onto something really good here. And if we ever wanted to make South Africa great, this is what we should do to make South Africa great again. Thank you.
Halala Mongameli, halala. Halala, yes alumni, halala.